So we're just looking at, for those that are jumping on YouTube right now, or just looking through it, Kathy asked a question about, we started the video a little late. And so I want to put Kathy's question because
We're just looking at, for those that are jumping on YouTube right now, or just looking through it, Kathy asked a question.
If it's okay, Kathy, I'm just going to describe what you asked, which is a question for a lot of us, because it seems like we hear them sometimes and then others. And she was expressing that there were a lot of doubt thoughts that she could actually hear, but he's saying she can hear them very, very clearly. So now we're asking Jesus to show us where, what's kind of making that transmission fuzzy. If he'll share that with us so that we can clear that from the subconscious mind and forgive it. So yeah, Kathy, if you hear anything, let us know. So we can ask Jesus, is there any desire below the level of awareness not to hear your voice clearly? And just hear what he says, yes or no. If he says yes, then we say, okay, now we have something to look at with him. Like not wanting any kind of big fat no to hearing that voice. And then ask him, can you help me release that to a miracle? The no to hearing your voice clearly. Just hear the natural voice for love clearly.
Oops. It's like these thoughts come up and I can't discern sometimes whether they're coming from him or whether they're coming from my own mind or what. But one thing that came up was just this flooding of like kind of impressions from like my childhood of like having to kind of shut down or stuff my own authentic self and become a performer to get love and validation from my father. And also like the desire badly to want to fit in. And I can still sense a part of me that hides my authentic, my spirituality and my truth, so that I can fit in and appear normal and not ruffle any feathers. And
That's a great one to ask him about. Ask him if that's going to really hurt. Because it's so much a part of you. You're so called to him. That's going to hurt a lot. Yeah, he had to show me that I was actually embarrassed to speak his voice, really, in the play of consciousness, because I didn't want anybody to know I was talking to Jesus. But we can forgive that and look at it and ask him to release that grievance. Jesus, can we have a miracle on this? The idea that we have to hold our authentic self down and not hear your voice and talk to you all day and be comforted by you all day. The play of the ego, what Jesus is pointing to is that, and he talks about this in the Course a lot, that the idea of talking our natural voice is sacrifice. We're going to lose something. Jesus, do I have a desire to feel like I'm going to lose something by speaking your voice, by hearing your voice? And in that desired experience, to desire desired experience, that loss comes from talking to you, is a lot of pain and suffering coming from that idea that to hold love from myself, because talking to him is love. It's love celebrating love. It's you get a love cuddle. At first, the ego's like gonna scream like bloody murder talking to Jesus in the play of consciousness, because in order not to hear our natural voice, we have to, the play in consciousness has to be to play like something bad's going to happen if we listen to Jesus. Well, we can ask him for a miracle directly on that. Do I have a desire for that experience that something bad's going to happen if I talk to you? And he'll tell us yes. We can listen for the yes. Okay, Jesus, I do believe something bad's going to happen if I talk to you. But now it's out there. And now we can ask to be, for see it that another way and release that desire. He's saying it's really all about what it means, what consciousness makes it mean. And it does, in order to avoid seeing that the light's here, it has to make the light really bad, including the voice for God. So Jesus knows it takes time in the play of consciousness to kind of reacclimate. But you can ask him, Jesus, will you help me hear your voice? He says, this is my only function, to help you hear my voice more clearly, because it's your voice. It's natural to you. Every other voice is so unnatural. There's no other voice more natural to you than my voice. Is anything coming on this, Kathy?
Not really, although I could sense the part of me that is afraid of losing something if I listen and follow his voice. I was just forgiving that belief and asking him for the miracle on that. But can I talk about something specific?
Sure.
Because this is what really got me off kilter the last few days. I feel like I'm having more trouble hearing right now because I got myself into such a kind of distressed state. And this is something I've been praying to him a lot about the last few days, but not getting any real clarity. Is there something, there's something that I want to release that I feel is really getting in my way. And that's the belief that I completely screwed up. Not only my life, but any chance of being who I was meant to be in this life. Because in a nutshell, many years ago when I was living up north, there were a series of very kind of major decisions I made that went against my guidance because I didn't know to trust my guidance. I got very clear guidance. I mean, very clear guidance 4 or 5 times. And I did the opposite of what my guidance told me because I had so much fear and I was putting my trust in somebody else who was a friend of mine, but also a spiritual mentor that had channeled Jesus and communicated with Jesus all the time. And I would, I had a bad habit of relying on her when I had decisions to make because I didn't trust myself. And I did what she told me to do instead of what my own inner guidance was telling me to do. And my life just completely unraveled. And the last major one was moving from Northern California back down to Southern California in with my mom. I had a lot of health issues and I was really struggling financially and physically and emotionally and everything. And she kept getting that it would be good for me to come to my mom so I could rest and recover. And every time I thought about doing it, I literally would break out in just massive anxiety and like hives, even the only time ever in my life. And it just did not feel peaceful at all. But anyways, there's a long story to this, but in a nutshell, I ended up down here and 13 years later, I'm still here. And I keep going through these cycles where I feel like I just want to hear from him.
It's time, Kathy, and you can. Okay, and it's helpful.
I want to know from him.
Yes.
If It's like, it doesn't even make sense. I'm reluctant to even say what I'm going to say because I know in the context of A Course in Miracles, there it's like, I want to know from him, did I make a major mistake by coming here? Because I never imagined I'd still be here. I never get the clear guidance to go anywhere. And I feel like I'm unhappy and discontent being here, but I know in truth that it has nothing to do with my external circumstances, right? But I can't let it go. I can't let go of the thought that I lost something of importance, It's like I'm still clinging to. I don't know.
Well, let's just start with listening, because that's the most helpful. Remember what Jesus said, we begin again. Not one thing or 1 second that goes before this one counts. The ego makes it count. Jesus doesn't have a memory like that. So we start with the light of divine being and look at the light first as the light, because we're light. In the light of divine being, does it have a past or a future in our direct experience? So when we don't follow, it's not Jesus that abandons us. We're going to feel guilty because we're just not in alignment with truth. But it's not like Jesus comes in and says, okay, hold on to this. You're guilty and I'm going to beat you up with a wet noodle. He just says, what happens is when we feel guilty, then we go hide under a rock. No, all we have to do is go over to Jesus and say, Jesus, I'm ready to listen now. I wasn't quite listening yet, but I'm listening now. And we begin again as light. And then we just listen now. And we start with the light to see in the light of divine being, there's just light. And the light doesn't have an elf on the shelf list where it keeps track of the bad things. So we can start now. We're joined in light now.
Yeah, but there's actually that section. I think it might. I don't know if it's in Rules for Decision or somewhere else, where he says if you make decisions by yourself, it will hurt you because of the concept of the concept that led to it, or something like that.
It's just that the play of consciousness, yes, it will hurt because of the play in consciousness to make guilty. But the only way out of guilt is to hear his voice. So we can't block his voice. We have to still go to him and say, okay, I just gummed it up right now. We just admitted I gummed it up. I was believing something that I'm not, and I was following what I'm not, but I'm willing to follow now and see that he'll be here. That's all. We just turn to him. He knows we're going to, as I've said, St. Peter, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. Well, I think I'd spend at least 100 million times for me. But we can always turn our face to the light, and he's going to be there to love us and just say, okay, he holds no grievance. If it's a grievance, it's held by the wrong-mindedness because we feel guilty. It's not that God holds the grievance if we don't follow. We hold it against ourselves. We use it as an excuse to beat the tar out of ourselves and then not go to him. He's not like that. If you look, he's going to be there every single time. So we can just ask him. There's guidance right now. Guidance is see that you're light right now. That's the highest order guidance. honesty of God. See that you're light. Admit you're denying. Okay, Jesus, I'm trying to use this old thing that happened to boot the light out of my awareness. Can you help me out of this? Can you help me with a miracle on whatever I thought happened? And then we just ask them, what do I need to see here to release this to a miracle with you? What miracle is needed now for peace of mind? So we just ask them what miracle if we're upset. Okay, Jesus, you're guiding every miracle. What's the miracle that's needed? Are we willing to see that we didn't do anything wrong? That's all he's going to whisper in our ear. You didn't do anything. So this is it's very helpful for all of us, Kathy, because the biggest impediment to hearing his voice is the belief that we actually did something wrong. And that something's going to happen bad, because we did something wrong. So first, Jesus, will you help me clear that desire for an experience that I did something wrong? Is there a desire for an experience below my level of awareness that I did something wrong, so I don't deserve to talk with you anymore?
Well, I just earlier, I heard him say, I'm still here.
I just heard that too.
It was like the feeling was, it was like, I'm still here. And I just could like see him right in front of me. And it was like as though nothing had ever happened or nothing had ever changed.
When he says that, we need to cuddle up close and take note. And just reach over and take his hand, or however it's most comforting. And look into his eyes. A lot of beings, I can't look into his, look in there anyway, and just see he's not holding anything. His hand is offered. We're the ones that not reaching out. We have to reach out and take his hand. There isn't another way. We need to reach to the Holy Spirit. That's our only function, actually. In part, that's the willingness. See, our willingness is your hand going out and going, geez, Jesus, I need help. And I'm willing to accept the help that you offer me. Because the ego has its big fat ideas. I've seen that plenty. I always had an idea of how that help was going to be given. It's like, no, we got to go blank slate to how the help's given. And when he says that nothing happened, he means it. And he's the only one qualified to know. That's what we have to admit. That Jesus is the only one qualified to actually know. And you can ask him, Kathy, is there anything you wouldn't tell me if I asked you, and hear his answer? And we can all ask him. And Jesus, will you answer every one of my questions? He says, with more love than you can know, actually. Are you hearing anything else, Kathy? It's beautiful so far.
I don't know that I'm hearing anything specifically as other than I just I'm just feeling more peaceful, and it's like, I guess what I think part of it is I'm always expecting to hear like an actual voice or words, and it doesn't always come that way. I mean, sometimes it does, but the experience that I'm having right now is that it's like it's kind of clearing away. I'm starting to get the sense that I can trust him. I can ask him anything. He will always guide me. I just have to it's like I have to get my own agenda out of the way. It's like um I think that's a big part of it. It's like I have to I think trust is it's a huge it's just that's the word I keep hearing is just
Yes,
trust. I just have
yes,
to trust him.
yes. And you do hear him clearly. Just like you're talking about now that you do. It's a knowing, like you're speaking it so simply. And it's not always the words, it's where it comes from too. You can hear where it comes from. It's like you're saying, it's coming out of peace and wisdom, true wisdom.
I just feel like I heard him say, I just asked, is there anything else? And I just heard, you are loved. I don't think, I'm not getting anything else.
Yeah, it feels really complete. Yeah, it feels just complete. Sometimes it's just complete. Do you know? What's been given is received. And that is that we can ask him anything. And that we can talk to him about anything, and we're at peace. And to have that contrast when we're not at peace, that we go to him first instead of side that we're guilty or that we've done something wrong. So thank you. If something else comes, you can certainly speak again. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And that's really what the joinings are too, where we have, where we have these joining and light worksheets. It will help clarify when there's upset, and then you're going to hear them so much more clearly. After the upset's clear is really the time to hear him, because the upset is always the protest to hearing his voice. So it's a good call when we're upset to just say, okay, pull out the joining and light worksheet, find a brother on Facebook, the Facebook Messenger group, or on the WhatsApp group, and say, look, I really need to join now. To look, I want to look with Jesus. And remember, your brother is the signal, is the sign of Jesus within the mind. He's a symbol.
Okay, you're not recording.
Okay, we're back. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to ask? Okay, Anne. Thank you. Oh, for some reason we can't hear you, Anne. You're unmuted here. You might just need to check your microphone to make sure it's picking up. Yeah, it won't come through. You can't hear us either? Oh, of course, how would she know I'm saying that? Oh, you can hear me. Yeah, if you go down to your little microphone on the left and just check it to make sure it's your system microphone, it's picking it up. Yeah, now you'll have to do the unmuting on your side. Oh, we still can't get you. You might need to just jump off and jump back on, and then we'll pick you up. We'll see if someone else has a question, and then we'll pick you right back up. Okay. Does anyone else have something or feel it's coming through from Jesus on talking to Jesus? Because we're all Jesus for. Or how he's taught you to speak with him. Yeah. Okay, Irene, excellent. Yeah, what you found in your experience about speaking to him.
So first I had to tune in and listen to did Jesus want me to speak today. And many times I had to say no to the ego who had this little script it was going to spout out. And so, you know, when I first started doing this, and it's not really been that long when I think of it, yeah, everything Kathy expressed, I felt. I felt a wonderful connection at one time when I did a joining with you and being at the light circle, and then it seemed to go away. And I felt a lot of frustration, but something inside of me would not, knew that this was the answer that was going to work for me. I'm not saying for everybody, but for me, it's like I had nowhere else to go. So I was committed to keep joining. And there was a lot of times I didn't join, I didn't want to, and I always felt the effects. So it seemed to be that initially I could tolerate it for a week and not joining, then it would be a few days and not joining. Then if I didn't join every day, I felt almost sick. And so what was really helpful for me was when I joined with somebody, I would pull out that worksheet and just read it, especially with somebody new, because I realized that I didn't know how to tell anybody, and that wasn't what I was supposed to do anyway. And so I would just read the worksheet, and whatever would come in the joining was the way it was supposed to be. And sometimes I'd have a joining and I'd feel like, oh my God, that was terrible, but I didn't let it deter me. I continued to join. And it was amazing to me that I came to understand that a lot of the times when I was joining, there was clearing going on inside of me that Jesus was taking care of that I didn't even know about. It's almost like it was better that I don't know what's happening, because then I try to control it. So, and that's what I've come to see here, that a lot of times if I think I have to see what's happening and, see it, how it, see it clear, that's the ego wanting to get involved in this. And I have this example that came one day when I was joining chapter 20. I used to go to the chiropractor, and he would try to align my neck, and I was so terrified of being my neck broken, so I couldn't relax. So he used to kick me in the shoulder with his knee to take my mind off of what he was going to do so he could do it. And and not that Jesus would kick me, but it was almost like, I had to just trust to go on and do what I didn't know what was happening so that he could do the work and clear it. I didn't have to see it and feel it and know what was going on, but the evidence of how it became clearer and clearer to practice this was just, I realized I hadn't done it. And so all I can say is to keep practicing the joining. And for me, Jesus, I used to think I'm too busy in my life. I work, la, la, la. Anyway, Jesus cleared the decks, no job, no nothing. And I managed to come down here. I got down here just before this Corona stuff happened. So Jesus got me out of there before that could take me over. And so it was funny because then I had some time off before I came down here, and I realized here I wanted all this time. Now I got it. And I just don't really feel like joining all the time. So it was funny how it switched. But so with all that being said, what I wanted to just transfer or speak, Jesus was saying, okay, so what are the things that I realized because I didn't think I could hear Jesus clearly either. And when I started to feel like I could, what I realized was if I kept and even today, keep my questions simple, like yes or no, and I could kind of hone into what the answers were. So for me, it wasn't really a feeling or a voice. It was almost like a sensation. A yes was a certain kind of sensation I would feel. And a no was, I knew it when it was no. And so as I began to trust those sensations and asking, then it became easier to ask a little more specific, and then wait to hear. And a lot of times, if I'm not patient to hear. But I would say something that, Kathy brought up the goals for decision, and so spot on when saying that, if I have a laundry list already made and then I ask God if I should go do my laundry, I've already made up my mind. That's what I'm going to go do. And so I don't want to hear his answer. I want his answer to line up with mine. And so I'll be confused and like that. So one of the things for me is to not have an answer set in my mind, and recognizing that took time. And I'll give one example. What happened here the other day. I thought for me that there were things I wanted in my day that would make me, I would be like have a cup of coffee in the morning, go take a walk, and and have TV, ice cream at night, all these things. And so one of the things I had to let go of here was thinking that I know how the day should go. And so I have been asking, have to ask. And so I was asking, I want to go for a walk today. Should I go for a walk today? And if I say I want to go for a walk today, I already set that I want to go for a walk today. And so I asked Jesus, should I ask to go for a walk today? And he said, what's it for? Right away, what's it for? And I was like, wow, okay. So if I want to go for a walk for me, that's not, in purpose. So I went and asked to go for a walk with others, and realized that if I was going to be disappointed by the answer, I had already set in my mind what the answer should be. And so I went open and clear and realized that it didn't matter what the answer was. And I'm not even going to tell you what the answer was. But I realized if I had the answer already set in my mind about what I wanted, I was going to feel disappointed and confused and not clear with Jesus' answer. And so all that has come with experience. And for me to sit and try to tell you all these steps and all this formula is just the ego trying to get involved in it. And that's not what this is about, because we all hear Jesus's voice. I don't know that it's different for all of us, but I've heard from experience that it is a little. But all I can say is this works when nothing else seemed to have taken me to the clarity that I have here. And if it didn't work, if I didn't have the clarity, if I didn't have the continued peace, and believe me, there's been some upsets too, I wouldn't stay here. I would be doing this. And but I want and desire in my heart is consistent peace of mind, consistent happiness, consistent freedom from the ego. And this offers it. So if you're here, trust, like Kay says so often, if you're called to the light, it's for a reason. And That was the line in the beginning of the Joining Light worksheet that grabbed me first when it said, everyone can hear Jesus' voice, no exception. And when I read that, I went, all right, fine, I'm holding you to it. And so anyway, I just wanted to share it.
That's beautiful.
So thank you.
you. It's beautiful. Yes, and listen to Jesus. That was Jesus speaking. Everyone can hear. It's so beautiful. Thank you, Irene. That's gorgeous. Okay, so we'll come back to Anne and see if we can get you, Anne. I'd love to hear from you. Shall we try again? No, go.
Tell her her earphones on. That always helps when you join.
Oh, she's looking for her earphones. Yeah, you know, like there can be an idea that it's scary talking. Well, as I said, he was straight with me, like he said to Helen, you know, you're really embarrassed to speak, that you speak in my voice, or what will other people think because you're talking to Jesus kind of thing. So I had to do forgiveness on that, really, too. You know, I was like, well, what's your family going to think? You're talking about having mystical experience with Jesus or whatever. And now he like puts the cream on it and has me type a book, you know. Well, now it's really out there. But then you see it's your way out. You're going, wait a minute, this is my way out. Are you still having a hard time, Ann? It plugs in. Oh, no go. Okay, so look down at your little button there, arrow next to your microphone, and try to select a different microphone. See if that'll do it on your computer. The other thing is sometimes, you know, if you're watching YouTube or something and you turn down the volume on YouTube, it'll fry the Zoom sound too. Although it's not doing it for us, but that has happened. So, and sometimes it's just plain reboot and no way to get around it. So, okay, Anne, we're going to try one more to see if it'll come for you and see if anyone else has a question. And if it's, we'd love to hear from you. If it's a question, you could put in the message group, but we'd like to hear what you have to say. Does, no. And the other option, yeah, I don't know if you can do through Messenger or something, but message Renee or, you know, send it to someone if that's easier. So does anyone else have a question for Jesus or observation about their experience talking to him? Or want to ask him a question? Because the clarity comes through, as many beings have said in these light circles, just real good, really good clarity on things. Okay, Dorothy, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Dorothy.
Yes, I had an experience about 2 weeks ago.
Make sure we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Great.
Okay, so I had an experience about 2 weeks ago where I was lying in bed and I had a voice and I was so scared I nearly ran out of bed. And I've always been wanting to ask Jesus why I did that because I've been praying to hear his voice. But that one was a loud voice and it really scared me. So I do hear his voice, but sometimes I'm like, is it you? Is it the ego? I can't tell the difference sometimes. But I think that one incident of like nearly running out of bed, that one is what I keep remembering. The other thing is the times for the joining. I think because of the time difference, it could be because of that. or I have some undoing to get through, I'm not joining as much as I want, at least once a day. So that's another thing that I'm feeling is weighing me down. And I would say that's about it.
Okay, would you like to ask Jesus about him talking to you? What did the voice tell you, Dorothy?
I didn't hear the words, but I felt there was a presence and a voice,
Yeah.
but I didn't hear the words properly.
Yes. So let's ask him, was that his voice? And hear what he says. Yes. And we can hear it. I can hear it. Now we can all, this is really the stunning beauty of this. We can all hear it. See, when the truth is true, we're all going to hear it as the mind gets clear. At first, you may not think you can because it's the one speaking. Do you see? It's the power of the one. That's why it's helpful as the mind clears. Going through chapter 20, you can start going with your brother to hear what your guidance is. Because your brother's going to hear it too. When they're really clear, your brother's going to hear it as well.
Yeah.
Because there's one and it serves the whole. So that was his voice. What was he communicating to you?
I felt there was love, but I think I was just scared. It just happened so fast. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it. Even though, like at night, I usually see some lights. When I'm sleeping, I'll see some shards of light. I'll feel peaceful. That one I'm okay with, but the voice,
Okay, so let's just ask him. What was the scared part? So we can just release the idea that it's fearful to hear that voice.
yeah.
So we can ask him to kind of show us a desired experience and can we clear that to a miracle? So it's very comfortable speaking to him.
Mhm. So I just want to ask Jesus, what was he telling me? And why am I so scared of hearing his voice, our voice? I'm hearing love. That's what I'm hearing. A message of love. And feelings of unworthiness. There is also anger. What else? And just like I feel I've changed too much. Like I don't know who I am anymore, so I'm scared of taking this path, even though that's what I'm called to.
Yeah. That's a good conversation with him. Let's hear what he has to say. Yeah, let's ask him about that.
I'm grateful for the joining. I'm really grateful. I'm hearing all is well. I'm hearing I've compromised enough, and there's no more need for compromise.
Mm.
I've been compromising a lot to fit in, because this is way too weird.
Yeah, that's what he was saying to me. He was saying unequivocally you're called, and he was saying to me that it's what you're making this mean, what it means to be called. And it sounds like that's what he's telling you too. He's saying you don't know what it means. None of us know what it means to be called, do we? But we think we have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand completely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the other thing that was giving me a bit of worry and concern was an idea we had with a friend. She's been on the course in miracles for 15 years. I just started last year. And then I came to the Jesus Anew Covenant in December of last year. So I'm fairly new to everything. So we just sat and we had this idea of a spiritual retreat or a spiritual center. We talked about the capacity, land, beds, and all that. So ironically, both of us are not strong economically or financially. So it was a case of what will we do? So I think that also pulled me back, because I felt with a spiritual center, we'll have something to anchor, something to practice, to be an example. But because of the finances and also not feeling I'm very strong, and then the split, because my friend is more for the ACIM, and then I've come now to the JANC. I told her about it, but she was like, yeah, don't change the course at all. And I told my friend, it's not about changing it. It's just better explained, either for this time or this age. So that's where the split was. And it was a case of, okay, now you have to go it alone, but what will you do? How will you go through it? This is just too crazy. Where are you headed? You don't come from being raised Christian and then you become a Baha'i and then now you're in this. It's like, what do you want? So I think that's what's been taking up a lot of my mind energy, trying to either be something or be someone acceptable, even though it's not working out for me that way. And being in that conflict of the ego and Jesus's voice, just being in that conflict, and a lot of rage feelings coming up, like it's not working out. What next? Is this another joke? Will I be a failure? So that's been really taking up a lot of my mind.
I tell you, I hear you very called to this, very called. And yeah, to join, this joining is so powerful, especially when these feelings of rage. Because the other thing we laugh about here is a lot of times this is why talking to this voice is so helpful. We can't tell if we're releasing or holding on. So we have to ask Jesus that. Even a lot of times it feels like you're angry, but it's just a release, and in the interpretive function in consciousness. We don't even know when we're having a miracle. That was just like so much of a watershed for me. It's like, I don't even know that I've had a miracle. He's got it. So yeah, so that's really great. So yeah, we're here for joining. So just ask for one, or you have your brothers, and the clarity with talking to him is just so much more clear. It's what he promises. Like, I forgot how many times I saw he said the word join. Did I say 400 times? I gotta go. I'll ask Jesus. Did he say join 400 times in A Course in Miracles? Probably. So I'm glad you're here, Dorothy. And You're so right. This is A Course in Miracles. It's just encouragement for all of us to do exactly what he's saying in A Course in Miracles and not talk about it anymore. Live it, you know. As he said, we only need one lesson to go all the way. So this is really beautiful that you're speaking to him and that you have willing to speak to him. And as he said, even with the new covenant, you don't even need to have read the Course in Miracles for him to talk to you. We just have to be willing. You know, it's the willingness to hear the voice. And then as you're saying, you know, we follow it. And there will seem to be like kerfuffling, maybe. It's like, so what? We're powerful, infinite beings together. So I'm so glad, Dorothy, that you came, and it just feels holy purpose, very deep holy purpose here.
Thank you, everyone.
You know, and you can just ask them because you can't hear them well enough. Just ask them, you know, is this rage? Is there something to look at? And, you know, it's just a surprise. It shows how much I know, like not much, because sometimes I'll say, Jesus, there'll be something arising. And I'll say, do I need to look at this? He says, no. And, you know, I could see that playing consciousness to try to pick and choose what I was going to be looking at. Do you see how consciousness is going to do that? Like Muji says, it throws stones in the bush, and then I dive in there after them going, oh, there's this body ache, that body ache. I got to do something about it, Jesus. No, that was the K character choosing the miracles. It's a delay. So he's the only one. This is where we're listening to him really close. He's the one who chooses the miracles, which miracles, and tells us. Like, so even if we think we have rage or something, we'd always go to him and go, Jesus, what's under this? Do you hear anything when you ask him what's under the rage?
At times I hear perfection. I just want everything to be just right, just so. Then other times I hear, let it go. Just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's wise, as I've said before, when he'd first say stuff like that, you know, I could just hear, even though I'd hear him, I just like still want to hold on to it, you know? And then after a while, we get better and better going, okay, geez, do I need to think about that? It's like, oh, I don't. And just next, it just falls out of the, you know, not important. As we have that relation of trusting with him, he knows, and it just spend no time on it. Okay. Spend no time in your holy mind. That's glorious. So we can ask him about the perfection. Okay, Jesus, what's that? What's under that perfection?
To do things my way.
Yeah, that's funny. I heard the same thing. That's good. That's for all of us to look. Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness to do things my way? That's Will you show me that desire? Oh, so much love release in that one. He's giving me a talk on it too. He's saying, you know, that just doesn't serve you. But you think it does. That's what he's saying. That doesn't serve you, but it think it does. So Jesus, can we ask for a miracle to release that desire?
I'm hearing yes.
I heard yes too. Thank you, Jesus. And that's what's helpful when we check in with each other. You know, do we hear he's saying we're ready for a miracle? That's how we practice. You see the listening and ask him questions through the light circles and through the joining sessions. That's just how we practice being able to hear. That's beautiful, Dorothy. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Does it feel clear now?
It does.
Oh, good. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you joined. It's beautiful. Okay, Ann, do we try you again, or we think it's not going to work this time? It says you're unmuted. I'm also hearing that we're having comments on YouTube. So I'm wondering if somebody here could jump on YouTube and just take a look. Dara's keeping us posted on everything. Oh, she posted them right here.
There's a question from Ann there.
Oh, she did put it in YouTube. Oh, there it is. I'm hearing, oh, there we go. Okay. I am hearing everything I need to. I was relishing an ego tantrum, and from the ego is saying, I can't hear him. My partner can't hear him. What are we to do? It was very uncomfortable to stay with you all. I wanted to run away, but I stayed and Jesus spoke through you all and kept me quiet. I'm told I have avoided jumping a join and also avoided asking my partner to join as the ego voice, even though I heard the prompts. I actually feel a release and also have been feeling a freak to speak some of the soppy things I find myself saying or writing. At the same time, the unwinding from the ego is definitely happening. Finding those deep no's to awaken is incredibly helpful. Oh, I agree. So your partner you're talking about is your chapter 20 partner? And going through chapter 20, Anne? Yeah, that's really where we find those deep no's, where we're trying to give Jesus, the God, the boot in working with a partner in chapter 20. So if you want us to hook you up with a partner for chapter 20 to go through, but you also find the deep no's, he'll give them to you in the joining sessions too. If you ask him, okay, Jesus, what is it really? And that saves time because we're not spending time trying to figure out what, you know, we're never upset for the reason we think. But the ego gets involved with the miracle. No, we have to go to Jesus and let him completely tell us what miracle we need. So that's really great. I'm hearing, no problem. Oh, I see. So you're hearing everything in the talk that you need to. And you were asking, what do we do? Because you couldn't hear him and it was uncomfortable. I see. Yeah, it was uncomfortable. And chapter 20 can be really uncomfortable at first, but you got to stay in there and just don't even believe that discomfort because it's the way out. Yes, I know. And I actually feel a release and also have been feeling a freak to speak some of the soppy things. This is that Jesus says he's going to be soppy. All right. You're going to feel like mush sometimes when he comes through, and we need to be mushed up a bit. Because we've been beating ourselves up a lot, and he takes you to your knees when you speak that voice. It's very humbling. We need it. I'm asking him. Yes. Because all the arrogance, the play of arrogance, which is just, there's nothing, we don't judge arrogance. We see it for what it is. It's impossible. It's arrogance. He's telling me, he's saying it's arrogance not to speak my voice because it's your voice. It's the only voice that's true. But the ego hates its idea. It has a concept of vulnerability and it doesn't want to feel vulnerable. But that only means that it wants to maintain its little fiefdom. Vulnerability is to keep the fiefdom. Because see that infinite light is invulnerable. So this is beautiful. And also you talking about, you know, those things feel really soppy and mushy that we find ourselves saying or writing. It's good to write them and say them anyway. And particularly if you recorded them and you go back and watch, and you'll see the power that comes through. That's actually coming through where it feels like it's mushy, soppy, but then you go through back and see it. See, the ego is just going to try to surround what you're saying with, oh, that's not it. Don't speak this. You know, it's going to label it because the consciousness, well, that's what consciousness is. It's going to label everything having to do with infinite light as bad. But again, that's why he's come in at this point. This is what he's telling me. So I'll just say it and everyone can confirm. You can all talk to him, you know, that's the great thing. This is the line by line with Jesus version of A Course in Miracles. Like where he's teaching you that you're going to be able to look at any book, any text, anything that appears in consciousness directly with him. And just have a little conversation about, is this true? What about this? And he'll tell you what's most helpful out of all of it. How easy is that? But this is just the encouragement to all course students. One, you can have this experience by direct experience. Two, there's a lot of dabbling in the course. Teachers and course students. It's just a play in consciousness. It's not bad. He's saving time. You know, Jesus is like, let's do it today. Be infinite today because that's what you are. So he's just coming in and going, okay, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. I'm in control of the atonement. I'm in control of atonement. He's really not saying anything he hasn't said in Course in Miracles, other than the elucidation on sexuality, which didn't make it to A Course in Miracles. I'm asking him directly. You can ask him, did you want that? Yes. But it was discomfort. It was a discomfortable topic because it's the complete unwind at that point. If you want to really dive deep in sexuality and find out who you're having sex with, you'll just, that's really the only, you know, everything else he says in A Course. You know, it is the course. See with me, look with me, follow me, listen to me. And I'm here to help. And then also the specific means that he's also giving in with the light, joining in light worksheet. And then chapter 20, here's how you work with me. You know, here's a starting place. Here's how to join. He's really getting specific on. For me, I obviously, as I've said many times, I needed that. That's what he gave for me for the assignment. So is there anything else that anyone would like to add that we feel that we want to talk about? There's a chapter 10 on guidance. Oh, here we go. Another great.
Hola a todos.
Hello, everyone.
Yo le estoy preguntando que qué tengo que decir.
I'm asking for guidance on what to say.
Y tengo que platicarles la experiencia que me estaba pasando recientemente.
And I wanted to share the experience that I had recently.
Y es que hubo como 3 días que no podía escuchar su voz.
And I was experiencing about 3 days that I couldn't hear his voice.
Antes de eso tuve un gran ataque del ego.
And before that, I had a huge ego attack.
Era como querer defender el especialismo, la individualidad.
And I could feel that I wanted to defend being special and attacked.
En el círculo de luz, Jesús con su ayuda me hizo ver que no ha pasado nada.
And through the light circles and with his help, he helped me see through it that it was actually nothing.
Después llegó una noche y me empecé a sentir muy ansiosa porque no podía escuchar su voz.
And during the night, I kept feeling more anxious because I couldn't hear his voice.
Me uní a mi hermano y le preguntamos qué era lo que estaba pasando.
So I joined with my brother and we asked to see what was really going on.
Y me dijo que era que yo quería tener la razón y que Dios estaba equivocado.
And what he said was that I was still trying to be right and that God was wrong.
Y después me llevó a que viera yo si la luz puede estar equivocada.
And then he took me even deeper to recognize if the light could be wrong.
Y en ese momento surgió una paz y una tranquilidad porque sabía que venía de él.
And in that moment, I was overtaken with a great peace of mind because I knew that was his answer.
Así es que creo que de ahí surgió esta sesión de ¿por qué no escuchamos la voz de Jesús?
And from that, I think that's the theme that we're all on, that why can't I hear the voice of God?
Y es porque nosotros hemos querido escuchar una voz ajena a la suya.
And I feel it's because sometimes we tend to try to hear another voice that doesn't come from him.
Y ahora estamos volviendo a aprender a lo natural que es la voz interior de Jesús en nosotros.
And now is when it's becoming more natural to recognize the voice of God and the voice of Jesus within us.
Y siempre que vamos a esa voz de Jesús a escucharla,
And every time that we go to that voice within and listen,
a veces se siente como una sensación de paz, de alegría,
you have this sensation of peace, of joy.
otras veces llega un pensamiento
Sometimes it's a thought,
y otras veces escuchas la voz.
and sometimes you listen to a voice.
Pero al final sabes que es Él porque siempre llega a la plenitud.
But you always recognize it's him because you feel complete.
Y otra cosa que también me ha enseñado mucho
And another thing that he's teaching me
es a confiar en escuchar su voz a través del hermano.
is to listen and be present, to hear the voice through my brother.
Siento que, por ejemplo, esta sesión es una oportunidad para unirnos a esa mente uno junto con todos.
And these sessions are a great opportunity to join in that one mind, all of us together.
Porque el mensaje que Él nos da es para todos los que estamos aquí.
Because the message that he's given us is for all of us here.
Así es que siempre podemos escuchar a Jesús.
So we can always hear his voice.
Y bueno, cuando confiamos que el infinito nos está guiando y nos tiene seguros,
And when we trust that we are being guided by the infinite one, and we trust,
es cuando empezamos a sentir esa paz y esa alegría de saber que adentro de nosotros está esa respuesta.
and we feel this joy and this happiness to know that the answer is always within us all.
Eso es lo que quería compartir.
And this
Gracias.
is what I wanted to share with you all.
Oh, gracias. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Esto es hermoso. Gracias, Lina.
Yes, this looking becomes very inspiring through our brother. It becomes very inspiring to look. And our brother helps us, keeps us on the track on that landing strip of God. So does anyone want to share their experience of learning to listen to Jesus and how he's teaching? Oh, here comes Melissa. Oh, you have to unmute you, Melissa. Oh, there.
¿Ahí? ¿Me escuchan? ¿Me escuchan?
Yes, see.
Hear me?
Ok.
Okay.
Ah. Bueno, he podido observar
Well, I can observe
estos símbolos en mi mente cuando surgen de
the symbols in my mind that are surfacing,
de unirme en estas sesiones de qué es lo que estoy escuchando, qué es lo que
That when
Jesús
I-
me está
that when I
diciendo.
and when I join through the sessions to pay attention and listen, what is Jesus trying to tell me? What is he trying to reach out to me?
He observado que ha surgido mucha resistencia y de no unirme, de no expresar mi experiencia al escuchar la voz de Jesús.
And I've been having a lot of resistance, sometimes of not wanting to join or not wanting to express or share what I'm listening from Jesus.
Y veo que hay un miedo muy profundo al amor, a reconocer mi poder.
And I can see this deep fear within me of love, of not being able to recognize it.
Porque mi experiencia en muchas uniones o preguntas lo he escuchado tan claro
Because through my experience of joining, I can hear him so clearly.
pero observo que hay un miedo, hay un deseo de no compartirlo, lo que estoy experimentando al escucharlo.
And I can see this deep fear of this desire experience, not to share what I'm experiencing, of not to share what I'm listening from him.
Porque cuando me uno a mi compañera poderosa,
Because when I join with my mighty companion,
la experiencia es de que estamos escuchando prácticamente lo mismo.
the experience is that we're listening to the same exact thing.
Y cuando él quiere que profundice en algo, él me lo muestra a través de un hermano, a través de otro hermano. Es como que cuando quiere que refuerce lo que él quiere que escuche, empiezo a ver lo mismo en mi conciencia a través de mis hermanos.
And so I keep experiencing that when he wants me to go even deeper, when I join through a brother, I start hearing the same thing through my different brothers on what exactly is it that he wants me to look at to go even deeper.
Y fuimos guiadas o fui guiada a iniciar el capítulo 20.
And we were guided, or I was guided to start chapter 20.
Y sentí una inspiración y una alegría
And I felt great inspiration and joy
en iniciar el capítulo 20 y me uní con mi compañera poderosa
to start chapter 20, and we actually joined with my mighty companion.
y estábamos escuchando lo mismo.
And we were hearing the same thing.
Pero ahorita observo que hay mucha resistencia y es como que no he querido nuevamente unirme a mirar los deseos.
But now there's a lot of resistance in wanting to actually go directly to see the desires.
Y han surgido dudas cuando me uno.
And there's been a lot of doubt thoughts that have been surfacing every time I join,
Y el deseo de compararme.
and the desire to compare myself,
Como de no escucharlo como lo escucha mi compañera.
of not hearing him how my mighty companion hears him.
Y es como el deseo de presionarme, el deseo de la experiencia de presionarme, de escucharlo de cierta manera.
The desire experience to pressure myself and that I have to listen to him in a certain way.
So Melissa, what is he saying about the resistance?
¿Qué más?
Melissa, ¿qué es lo que escuchas que él te dice sobre la resistencia?
Voy a preguntarle.
El que me llamó la
I'm gonna
atención fue el
ask him.
segundo, que es más fácil porque en Android no es lo mismo que en el iPhone. En el iPhone se puede hacer directamente sin eso.
Lo que escuché es que tengo miedo al amor.
Dile de pronto Elena te puede
What I
ayudar con
keep
esa
hearing
vaina.
from him is that I fear love.
Sí, eso es lo que pasa. Estaban hablando que antes de
So Melissa, can you ask him the specific fear? See, the resistance is arising to kind of protect some kind of desire that we feel we're not ready to see. We really are ready to see it, you know, ask them if what the specific thing, the piece of personal identity that's under that. If you feel willing, you can ask them, what's the specific piece that's under there?
Y si puedes, Melissa, dile que te traiga específicamente el deseo, porque siempre el miedo es para cubrir esa identidad personal. Es como un deseo escondido debajo de la mente subconsciente. Entonces, pregúntale específicamente cuál es el deseo que está siendo protegido.
Siento que estoy distraída.
I feel like I'm distracted.
Okay. So usually for resistance, he's saying it's some kind of, he's trying to communicate something to us that we're interpreting that it's going to be loss. If we see that piece of personal identity direct on, we're going to lose something.
Entonces, usualmente la resistencia es debajo de eso, lo que él lo reinterpreta es ver que hay un significado que le hemos dado, como que hay pérdida, como que podemos perder algo.
It's usually something where there's a belief that heaven is in it, heaven somewhere under that. And so we feel like literally to give up the desire, we're giving up heaven.
Entonces es como un significado que le hemos dado a esa parte del yo individual que pensamos que nos puede traer el cielo. Entonces eso es en realidad lo que tenemos que descubrir literalmente, que nos enseñe qué significado le he dado que esto me pueda traer el cielo.
Lo que escuché es que aún quiero hacerlo a mi manera.
What I heard is that I still want to do it my own way.
Jesus, is there a desire below my level of awareness to do it my own way? Will you show me the energy of that? The wanting, the relishing of doing it my own way. That's a helpful energy to let rise up, to be seen fully. How much we relish doing it our own way.
Jesús, hay un deseo de la experiencia debajo de mi nivel consciente de querer hacer las cosas por mi propia cuenta y tenemos que notar en realidad el aprecio que tenemos de estas cosas, de apreciar, de querer ese deseo de hacerlo por mi propia cuenta.
Sí, escuché sí.
Yes.
And can you help us with a miracle on this one, Jesus? Are we ready for a miracle? Look directly at that wanting to do it our own way.
Podemos ver el milagro en esto para recibir el milagro de querer hacerlo por nuestra propia cuenta.
Estoy permitiendo que pase esta energía.
I am allowing for this energy to just flow through.
A lot of love cuddles behind that energy, so it's a good it's a release.
Muchos abrazos del amor que va a surgir detrás de esa energía.
Te estaba preguntando que si era una liberación y me dice sí.
I was asking him if it was a release and he says yes.
Yeah, see, I hear it too.
Yo lo escucho también.
Me dice, no tienes nada que temer. Estás a salvo y eres tan amada.
And I'm listening and he says, there's nothing to fear, you're safe, and you are so, so loved.
Yo estoy aquí contigo.
And I am here with you,
Siempre.
always.
Solo sígueme, me dice.
Just follow me, he says, keep following me.
Estás lista, me dice.
He says, are you ready? ¿Estás lista? ¿Estás lista? Dijo, ¿estás lista? You're ready.
Mm. See.
Yo sé.
This is a really great example. Thank you for this one, Melissa. Their examples are so great because we can really see how he has the accuracy and the specificity just to get us right to what it is. We don't have to spend any time. We ask him and then he goes, okay, here's what you need to look at. And then we look at it and it's easy and direct. So thanks, Melissa. This is beautiful.
Gracias, Melissa. Actualmente aquí ese reconocimiento donde vemos lo específico y directo que él es y nos lleva directamente a ver lo que tenemos que ahí abajo escondido, ¿no? Para traerlo y se vuelve más ligero y más ligero a través de reconocerlo más y más.
Sí, se siente muy ligero. Ahora se siente muy ligero.
Yes, now I can feel lighter, much, much lighter.
Es como, se siento que se despejó.
I feel like it got released.
Wow, thank you for the power of this joining. Wow, Melissa, thank you. Thank you, everyone, Dorothy and Anne and Kathy and everyone just brings their heart and it's just inspiring. Isn't it inspiring when we can hear Jesus so simply and so directly to help us? So thank you. These joining sessions are very, very precious. And I just want to mention, because someone in the group had asked about, you know, the Spanish translation, we just follow Jesus's guidance. It's so many time space rearrangements in this, and we feel to have, we're one mind, and to transcend the words together, that it's so far beyond the words, what he's pointing to, infinite light. So that's why it appears this way, because we're following his guidance. And it feels so wonderful to be with our brothers who speak Spanish. Yeah, we follow him, what he says. And this is what's truly helpful. Thank you, Jesus. Namaste to all of you. Keep on joining.
Can I just say one thing?
Okay, yes, Kathy.
Just at the end of Melissa's sharing there, like after Jesus said, you know, are you ready? The song popped into my mind, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. And I'm not familiar, I will tell you, I'm not familiar with that song at all. And I just looked up the lyrics, and it says, this thing called love, I just can't handle it. This thing called love, I must get round to it. I ain't ready, crazy little thing called love. That's the first part of it. So it's like he's asking, you know, are we ready to be this crazy little thing called love?
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for extending your light here. Really good to see all of you. That's beautiful. Crazy little thing called love. There goes my